hate that I'm drinking this out of a can, but that's alright. I actually like.
We're talking about how rats pee on cans and cargo.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the actual thing.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of the Wholesome Half Hour. I am Mackenzie.
Kira, I'm Sarah. How's it going? How are you on this marvellous Monday afternoon? Or Tuesday, or Wednesday, or Thursday, or Friday, or Saturday, or Sunday?
It's Monday in this recording when our human listeners are listening.
Well, if they're not human though.
Well, then they can listen as well. I'm okay with that.
I don't know. I'm glad to hear we're inclusive like that.
I don't discriminate. If anyone wants to listen to me for an extended period of time, then well done and thank you.
Congratulations.
Exactly.
Very much.
What are we talking about this week, Sarah?
We're talking about questions you don't know what to ask, but you want to know answers of.
Yep.
That was a very long-winded way to put it.
Yeah.
Why do you have a...
It'll come in. It'll all become clear. Patience is a virtue.
Is it though?
This week, guys, we asked you on our IG, you know, if you're someone who's inclined to ask questions in class, if you're confused about something, and the next story post that we put was, what are the kinds of questions that you want to ask but don't feel so inclined to do in class? I thought a good way of sort of where this discussion, like, in my mind, should go today is ultimately us discussing the importance of asking questions and the value of it, and like that people shouldn't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Sweet.
Sounds great.
Awesome.
Feeling very alive today.
You can tell we
Actually, I drank 2 coffees at lunch. Maybe they haven't kicked in yet. Oh no, they should have kicked in by now.
Interesting.
Maybe I'm just a potato.
Maybe you've just burnt yourself out caffeine-wise.
No, I've only had 3 today.
I mean, just like over extended periods of time.
Oh yeah, that's quite likely.
Exactly. So, I guess, just to start us off, did you ask a lot of questions when you were in school? Were you that kid that put their hand up?
That kid.
Nah, neither was I.
I got there later in life.
I just turned up.
Actually, questions? No, I didn't. No, questions, yeah, no.
Yeah, no, you didn't? Or yeah, no, yeah?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. Okay, yeah, no. Yeah, no, I think it's pretty fair. Like, I feel like
transcribe the show and just put it up as a blog.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Anyway, no, I think it is fair, and a fair question, and I think it is something that, regardless of our behaviours in a classroom, asking questions and sort of the things that come along with it, I think that is worth discussing, because I think a lot of us, we tend to shy away from asking questions.
Definitely. Yeah.
What was like your reason why? Like if you were sitting in the class and you didn't know what the hell was going on.
I guess it's like the combination of like not wanting to look silly in front of everyone, but like not just that in itself, but also just like fear of like speaking in front of the class when like not many people do it. So like, I don't know, like socially it seems like not taboo, but like a little unusual.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think it's a balance. I think that we shouldn't be afraid to ask questions in class, purely based on what you feel that your peers' perceptions of you will be.
Yeah.
In saying that attitude has to be tempered with or balanced with the idea that the class is a public environment and you do have to consider the other people in class as well. However, I feel like that only extends to asking excessive questions in class. Like, nobody likes that kid that has to ask every single thing.
Yep.
But I think everyone feels that they're at risk of being viewed as that person, even if they're only asking one question that very likely other people in the class are also confused on as well.
Like, if you think about who that person is, we're talking like multiple questions every class.
Exactly.
Like, not just 1 or 2, but like 4, 5, 6, 7 every class. Like that's how many you have to ask to fall into that boat. If you're a normal person asking like 1 or 2 questions per class, or 3 or 4 questions in a more complicated class, but like maybe 1 or 2 like every day, you're not going to fall into that category. Yeah. That's just the reality of it. And it's like it's one of those things where we tend to like overanalyze our own actions. Like think about in most of your classes, exclude the just look at any class. and think, can you remember the people who asked questions in that class? Maybe think about classes from last year. You probably can't, unless it was someone who fell into that 5 pass per every class category.
Like, over an extended period of time, built up that kind of reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People who ask 1 or 2 questions, even every class, or 1 or 2 questions every couple of classes, you probably can't even recall at all.
Yep.
And it's a great example of how it feels like everyone will remember this, but if you can't think of other people, why would other people be able to remember you doing it?
Yeah, it's that common bias where we feel that other people notice a lot more about us than why.
I was going to fiddle with it throughout the show, so I thought I'd eliminate it.
Fair. All right, I'm here for that. I think it is one of those things where we feel that a lot of people notice things about us that they don't. And I think a very good way of sort of realizing that in yourself is trying to think of even like one of your best friends or somebody that you see very regularly. How much about them do you logistically notice? Did you actually remember, could you recall off the top of your head what they wore yesterday? Could you recall off the top of your head whether or not, they, did this stupid thing or, asked a stupid question or something like that? You think you notice a lot more about people, but you really don't. And the same is, for other people as well.
Your memory's, way more... everyone likes to think that people are analysing them way more closely than they actually do.
100%.
If you actually take a look at even think yesterday, someone you really know well, can you remember what they were wearing? What about 2 days ago? Can you remember what pants they were wearing?
Can you even remember the bulk of the conversations that you had yesterday with anyone?
Yeah. And the reason we talk about that is people, and I do this as well, it's a very normal thing to do, but people really overanalyze themselves.
And the way that they're perceived by others.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
But other people just don't notice as much because everyone is focusing on themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to remember that everyone is very everyone has that internal monologue, saying, somebody noticed when you tripped up on the street, or, somebody noticed that you picked your nose that one time. Nobody actually notices unless, I still remember looking over in the warehouse car park and seeing a middle-aged man pick his nose. Actually, that was pretty weird. But I don't know his face. I just remember what happened. And it's funny. I could have passed that man in the street a million times over and I wouldn't have known him. All I know is that one day, when I was a kid, I saw a man pick his nose in the warehouse car park.
Makes you think.
Makes you think.
I didn't see that at the Wellington warehouse car park.
I mean, it was most certainly in Hawke's Bay.
Actually, maybe in Lyle Bay, I don't know. Maybe not Torrey Street. Torrey Street warehouse is quite weird. Have you been there?
Yeah, multiple times, but it's the most poorly set out warehouse I've ever
that's what I was saying. It's weird.
It's out of all the Woody Fuddies that I've been to, it seems the most just half.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. What was that word that you were gonna?
Nothing.
What's our timestamp?
Nothing. Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here.
I'm obviously incapable of speaking properly.
I'm purely speaking from myself when I say this, is I never asked questions, or I refrained from asking a lot of questions in class until I was absolutely lost. I was, up Struggle Street, I just didn't know what was going on, and that's how bad it would be before I'd have to ask even a single question. But I think the thing is that we have to bear in mind is that in asking questions, whether that be in class or in general, you can usually quite easily resolve something small before it gets any bigger.
And it's a lot easier to resolve when it's small.
Yeah, exactly. In a class situation, for example, if you missed a class or something like that, and you didn't ask questions about what you've missed, you're going to get to the next class and they're going to be moved on, but they're going to be moved on based off content that you don't know.
Yeah.
So you have no foundational knowledge for this new information that you're being given, and you have zero context for it. And so basically every lesson after that is kind of a waste as well, and this is how I failed the equilibrium paper at level 3.
Would you like some
therapy? Kidding, I actually
Would you like some therapy for that?
No.
Are you going to be okay?
I mean, relatively, yeah. That's fine. Okay. No, but like this genuinely happened to me at level 3 chemistry. I
just like dig yourself deeper into that hole.
Yeah, you dig yourself deeper, and like you.
I actually failed level 3 chemistry. We'll just put that out there.
Main. But yeah, no, you can resolve things so much quicker, and that it doesn't have to be like a PSA in the middle of the class. Like even just taking 5 minutes to speak to your teacher at the end of the class.
And yeah, that's the other one. Like teachers are very open to like. Most teachers, like 90% of teachers, are very open to like speaking to you after class if you don't want to ask during the class. Like remember, like these guys literally like have spent like half their life studying and or teaching this stuff. Like they're quite enthusiastic about it. So if you like show interest in like learning more about it, like they're more than happy to like entertain that.
Exactly. And so yeah, like I think asking questions doesn't just have to be in that classroom environment. Even sometimes like just asking your friends. Like, turning to your mate and being like, yo, do you have any clue what's going on? Like, and that can usually resolve things as well. Like, if you are too nervous to ask the teacher, like, just ask your mate. Like, and they might call you an idiot, but like, hey, they probably do that on a daily basis anyway, because they're your mate.
Taught me everything on how to pass level 3
chemistry.
Calc, one of the internals.
Sorry, that was really mean.
Though, so it's all good. I had a wild ride at level 3. Made it to uni though, so yeah.
Here we are.
What does this even mean?
Shaka.
Yeah, I know that.
I mean, it's a different thing where I'm from, but that's fine. That's
okay, interesting. Should I not do that? Should I refrain from that?
Not in Hawke's Bay.
Okay, I'll avoid doing it in Hawke's Bay.
I mean...
Do we like geo-ban this podcast from Hawke's Bay?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Always. Can we just do that anyway? I just don't want anyone who knows me to watch this.
Maybe I'll post it on your Facebook page this week. Wouldn't that be a gift?
Main. My very active Facebook that I run.
Yeah, I'll check it on there.
Main. Sweet, thank you.
Make sure all your friends see it. Or maybe I'll just go through your friends list.
It'll mostly just
open
private
every
message.
Private message. Jesus Christ. Friendship 101.
Yeah, we're friends. We get along.
Wow. So convincing.
But yeah, no, I think regardless of your reason for like asking questions and stuff, I think you don't want to be that person that is holding up the class.
Yeah.
But like that.
But you're probably not that person.
But you're probably not that person. If you are scared of being that person, you're probably not that person. Do you know what I mean?
No,
like I think it's something that like if you can understand the frustration of feeling that there's been no progress in class because one person has been holding it up, like you don't want to be that person. And if you are sitting here right now wondering if you are that person, maybe just take 5 minutes for a bit of self-reflection, you know? Like just think about it a bit, you know?
You should drink some tea before class.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? I think one of the things as well with asking questions is everyone kind of convinces themselves that their question isn't good enough for some bizarre reason. Because I do it as well. Like I'm fully speaking from personal experience as well. Like you can convince yourself out of asking a question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. I'll do it a lot. Like not just even with questions, but you'll convince yourself that there's like another way that's actually more complex, but you like convince yourself that it's not.
100%. And I think the thing is as well with that kind of stuff is really being aware of, are you convincing yourself out of something? Like, because you've kind of got a couple options when you have a question. Like, could you do like a quick cheeky Google search and that would tell you? Like, if so, maybe do that. Take 2 seconds. Who cares? You know, if it's something that needs more context, like i.e. in an NCA context, like if you're asking how to answer an NCA question or how to format something in an NCA format, like clearly asking your teacher is going to be far quicker like, at getting your answer than looking it up as well.
It's one of those things, like and it's something that I still do quite a bit, like to avoid the fear, wherever it sparks from, of like asking the teacher about something. You Google it, but actually that's going to take like 5 times as long to find the exact answer you want.
Yep.
Whereas if you just ask your teacher, you get the exact answer you want straight away.
Yeah.
And like I'm totally like guilty of like taking the long route because it feels like there's less friction because you don't have to ask someone or something like that.
Yeah, 100%.
But like if you ask them, they're not going to, they're probably like, they're either not going to care that you asked or like be happy that you asked. And like you get the answer way quicker and probably a better answer. Yeah.
And I think the thing is as well is we tell ourselves that we're going to ask a question or look something up later and we just don't.
Yeah.
We just don't. Like it's, the added benefit of it is that you get to, you know, address it then and there. You don't have to have it hanging over your head for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
Which I think is quite important as well. I mean, the main point here is you shouldn't be afraid to ask questions. There are very likely other people who are thinking the exact same thing as you as well. Like, that's just, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Anyway, should we get into some questions?
We shall indeed.
So the question we asked is on our IG, just for some context for y'all, is what is a question you always want to ask but don't ask?
Yeah.
Or what has been something hanging over your head?
Climate change is a hoax. Any thoughts?
So the day that we're filming this, just for some context for you guys, is actually the day of the Climate Day strike that students across New Zealand are doing. So I wanted to mention this earlier, so I'm glad you brought it up now. But anyone who did participate, like, well done. Like, that's so cool. And, you know, like, we posted a few things about it here at StudyTime, and yeah, 100% back you, man. Like, if you made the effort to go and be a part of that protest, strike, whatever you want to call it, in any way, shape or form, like, that's cool, man. I love that. I rate that.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say. If you went to the strike, good job. But if you actually care about climate change...
Oh, yes, this is what I was going to say as well.
If you actually care about climate change, the strike's going to do nothing. Okay? Like, all the strike does is, like, register that students care in politicians' minds. But for politicians, your strike had no clear aim. It's just like, let's do something about climate change, which is a good start. But if you want to actually do some change, like, you have to, like, learn and, like, understand the specifics yourself and, like, talk to someone about that. Current things going through this is, like, real details. Like, if you don't care about climate change, I'll skip 5 minutes. But, like, if you really want something to happen, this government promised that, or not promised, but implied that they would move agriculture into an emissions trading scheme. If you don't know what that is, you should Google it. They haven't done anything towards that yet. That's James Shaw's responsibility.
He's in hospital at the moment.
So, but like,
no, you just got to.
So like, that's one of those things. So like, agriculture should probably be moved into an emissions trading scheme. And the reason I bring out that example, even though it seems niche, is it's actually a realistic step. It's an actual step that government needs to take towards climate change. But like, no one talks about those things. But those are the things. Like, politicians can't go and write a bill and be like, we stop climate change now. Like, that's not a thing. But James Shaw can go to Camden and be like, we need to move agriculture into an emissions trading scheme. How are we going to approach this? Let's set up a working group on this. Working groups, that's another meme. And like, if you really care about climate change and stuff like that, you need to like start learning. Like, you don't need to like download all the information at once, but you need to like take steps towards like learning about that stuff. And like, if you want to like speak to like your local MP, like if you like, just like send them an email or like call them, they will meet with you. Like, that's literally their job. If you have like your electorate MP's job is to like listen to you. So like, if you want to like continue to do something towards that, highly encourage you. You know, if you don't know who your MP is, just Google like Wellington Central MP. It's Graham Robertson in Wellington, but like just Google that, hit them up, and like have a yarn with them.
I think like, with this as well. Like, sorry, actually no, like finish your point actually, and then I'll do.
Because like when you do. Because with the protest, it will get some media attention and stuff, but it will fizzle out. But it's like, if you can keep something on the minds of politicians for an extended period of time, that's when you start to see things happening. Because like, it's very easy for someone to come out and say, yeah, protest's good, and it's very easy to forget about it the next day. Like, welcome to life.
With the climate change thing, and like you're saying, like, well done to everyone that attended, and making that choice and choosing to be part of something that we do need to be doing. We need to be taking some action on this.
Definitely.
One thing with it as well is make sure that you protesting or you standing up for climate change isn't a one-off thing. This strike, this protest, whatever you want to call it, is still going to be nothing without any action from you further. So, like Sarah was saying, meet with your MP, discuss things, but also do things in your own life that are going to change things. Stop fast fashion. Like, don't buy crap for the sake of it. You can bleep that out if you need to.
Nah,
I don't know.
I think
I become very animated when I talk about these things. Like, the pure irony of like turning up to a strike in your Uber. Like, I hope I'm making a point here, but like, what I'm saying is, you can't say that you're an activist for climate change when you've done one thing. It needs to become a part of your lifestyle. It needs to be part of your morals. It needs to be part of your daily life and your daily routine, in whatever way, shape, or form that may take. You don't have to become somebody who's living, you know, a waste-free diet and you have every fad in the world that you're taking on at any given time. But what you should be doing is having these kind of ideas and these thoughts at the forefront of your mind and doing different things in your life to incorporate a gradual change, because we need politicians to change things, but we also need to change our own lifestyles and our own consumerism to help support this kind of thing.
Here's another climate thing. So like at the moment, and like everyone's aware of this, like the number one thing that people talk about is waste.
Yep.
Waste is less than 5% of carbon emissions. Now I understand that carbon emissions are not the only effect that waste has, but they're a pretty significant effect. Carbon emissions are a pretty significant effect. Carbon emissions are what causes global warming.
Yep.
Yeah. So waste is less than 5% of carbon emissions. I actually think it's like 2. It's like really low. The biggest sources for carbon emissions in New Zealand are agriculture and transport. Agriculture is number one.
The most, you could literally, like this is a fact. This isn't me preaching. This is a legitimate fact. Like
we could get rid of all waste tomorrow and still have like more than like 95%. Like there would be like no change in carbon emissions.
But not just that. Like again, when I talk about lifestyle and I talk about the choices you make, and again, I'm not trying to be preachy to anyone at all, and I'm not trying to force any ideas down anybody's throats. But legitimately, like statistically speaking, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but to reduce your carbon footprint, the best thing that you can do is cut out things like meat, cut out things like dairy in your own diet, like to help reduce the emissions and the products and the amount of waste that goes into actually creating that product. That doesn't mean that I'm encouraging everyone to go vegan overnight. What I'm saying is being aware, again, of your consumerism. Are you, like, for example, like I saw a bunch of the people who were going to the strike, who went to the strike, and then were lining up at Macca's.
Oh, Macca's.
Like, but it contradicts itself.
Yeah, no, I know. And like the people who will religiously use a keep cup and never get a disposable cup, but then like, you go and buy like a bowl of water or a bowl of Coke, like...
Yeah,
it's the same.
You don't have to be perfect. We can't be perfect. We can't
but
be
like just
absolutely...
understanding what you're doing. I feel like a lot of people are really delusional in that regard. They think they're onto it.
Yeah.
But like,
and what
really drill down.
What would, I think, be the most disappointing thing for me from this is not just using this strike as an experience or a message to politicians, but it should also be a message to the people who are participating in the strike. Everyone should be reflecting on themselves and their own actions and what they can do to help reduce climate change, because change starts with us.
Yeah.
And we have to lead by example, and we have to be aware and we have to confront the conveniences of our life, because that is essentially what contributes to this climate change. We have to confront those conveniences and say, hey, maybe I don't need another dress from Glassons this week or some junk like that. Like maybe I, should just like reuse a cup, or maybe I should like look at, just like walking or biking or taking a bus versus, using more wasteful ways of transport. And like, again, this isn't going cold turkey. It's not cutting things out for its complete entirety, but it's being aware of it and reducing your consumption. Like, for example, going back to the food thing, like, I'm not saying everyone should go vegan overnight, but what I am saying is that you should be aware that your own consumption is contributing to the problem. And we can have as many reusable straws as we want in the world, but that's not going to stop climate change.
Yeah.
Sorry, rant over. That went really, really long.
That's all right.
If anyone listened to the entire thing, thank you. If anyone listened to the entire thing and is actually reflecting on themselves, you're even better. That's amazing. Well done. What's another question?
What is a black hole? LMAO.
LMAO. Black holes are just basically like gravitational vacuums that suck in every particle around them. Like nothing can escape it.
Like a real vacuum cleaner, but for light and time and everything.
And everything that exists. So it is like it doesn't reflect light. It is like the truest black, or the truest like colourless that you could ever see. So like I'm constantly seeking to incorporate it in my wardrobe. But yeah, no, so it sucks in like absolutely everything around it. And they're basically just like a gravitational like sinkhole of like time, and it like warps like the space-time like.
Have you watched Interstellar? Just go watch that.
Yeah.
Is that the right movie? The one with the waves?
Yeah. I know the one you're talking about.
Just go watch that.
Interstellar is not a bad movie. Yeah. I don't usually go for space dystopia because they're all essentially the same movie anyway. That one isn't too bad.
Interstellar's good. 2001: A Space Odyssey is good. Those are probably the only two you need to watch.
Yeah, dystopian space movies are so overdone, honestly. There's just nothing there in terms of content. It's the same storyline every time. Let's be real. Anyway, I'm not talking about that. But yeah, no, the black hole is based on Einstein's theory of general relativity, which measures, gravity in terms of like objects and something about circular motion. I'm not super big on physics, but black holes are basically an unrelenting force. I don't know much more about them. So.
Like the force of gravity, but more.
Yeah, exactly.
You can tell I study science, though.
Hell
it really
yeah.
shows.
Are you Isaac Newton or whatever?
Any other questions you wanted to answer? Any other thoughts about life? Could I just not do NCA? You could.
You could.
It's not advisable, but you could.
Yeah, I mean...
You just want to do NCA and pass. It's not that hard.
Do what you want to do, man. Do no harm. Go for your life. Do no harm. Do what you want, but don't hurt other people or the world or anything. Climate change is real. Anyone who's listening to this that doesn't think climate change is real,
we don't want you to listen.
Can you actually just do
You're
me a
not
solid and just like
listener.
unsubscribe right now? Don't follow StudyTime and don't. Oh, actually, did you see in the comments section on some of the climate change stuff, like we had fun middle-aged people like trying to heat up in the comment section?
Oh, really?
It was so mean. I was watching them. I was reading it earlier, and I was just like thoroughly enjoying myself, but that was fun.
Yeah. I love climate change. I love rising sea temperatures. I love it all.
I love that our generation and, people going through high school and stuff at the moment, I don't know if you count yourselves as the same generation as us. I'm cool if you do. I'm cool if you don't. But...
Nah. Do you...
generations are about every 20 years.
Yeah. I think there's like a... I don't know. Can you remember when the internet was not a thing?
If you can't, you're not in the same generation as me. Yeah, actually, that's fair.
Yeah. Do you remember when not everyone had a smartphone?
Yeah. 100%. Oh, yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I think we were talking about asking questions and how important they are, but we also went on a climate change rant. But that's fine. I think
keeps things spicy, keeps things zesty.
I think the biggest thing is just don't think you're a social warrior for doing one thing. That's not a thing. And also, if you went to the climate change thing, just get a day off school and you actually don't care that much about climate change, you also kind of suck. I'm sorry, but you kind of do. I don't know.
Climate change.
I just think it's something that, it undermines the whole point of what...
Have you watched
of the statement that people are trying to make.
The Al Gore one?
What about Al Gore?
The movie.
No.
What's the movie called?
Al Gore's movie.
Yeah.
It's made on Windows Movie Maker.
No, it's a good movie.
Yeah, because it's made on Windows Movie Maker.
It's not made on Windows Movie. No one makes movies on Windows Movie Maker.
Then why does it exist?
Not a thing.
Then why does it exist? Riddle me this.
I don't know. Oh, The Inconvenient Truth and The Inconvenient Sequel. They're both actually quite good. If you haven't watched them, I highly recommend it. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like those movies, the biggest issue with them is they have a challenge of not being very good at balancing information with scaremongering. Because it gets to a point, it's psychologically proven, you get to a point in those kind of campaigns and people just switch off. They become desensitized with it if you oversaturate that kind of thing. Which is hard because most people think that that's the best way to get through to people, but it's just not.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. It's one of those things where you have to make slow increments over time.
Yeah.
We're at Paris Climate Agreement. But yeah.
I mean, how many summits can a bunch of politicians have before we as people just decide, hey, why don't we just do something about it? Because we don't have to do, I was about to say we don't have to do what the government tells us, but I feel like that just wouldn't go well for me. But like,
should I call the police?
I mean,
is that necessary?
Do what you need to, man. But like, we shouldn't feel like social campaigns for anything begins and ends with government. Be the change that you want to see in the world, team. Be the change that you want to see in the world, is my statement. Should I start an uprising?
Why don't you just run for Prime Minister?
Sounds like a lot of work.
Get money if you register a party. You need to get 500 members, but it's not that hard.
There's like at least 500 people at StudyTime who would like, you know, like not...
Should we register a party? We can. It's not that hard. You get money for it.
How much though? Is it worth the amount of admin it would take to make a party?
You can run a TV ad. It's enough to run a TV ad, supposedly. You get a slot in like this. Oh, I'm not sure if that's the thing anymore. Yeah.
500 people get in contact with us about making a party. We'll do it.
Yeah, Peter Dunn's party like slipped below that threshold and almost got deregistered.
That poor bow tie man.
Yeah.
Is he bow tie man?
Yeah, he's bow tie man.
He's bow tie man.
He's not in Parliament anymore.
Oh no. Oh no. Yeah. I'm really heartbroken. I'm not going to put all my political beliefs out there. That's probably not super wise.
StudyTime gets political.
Yeah, StudyTime gets a bit too deep.
Do we like... Yeah.
I feel like at one point it is going to get to that where we end up discussing things that probably are quite controversial to people.
That was what we just said was probably controversial to some people.
Seriously?
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Ugh.
You'd be surprised.
Anyone wants to at me and say that climate change isn't real? Like, do it, man. I'm here for this debate.
Yeah.
Because you're wrong and you need to be shown that. This is derailed so much. Too long, don't read for the entire show. Ask questions. You're allowed to do it. You should do it. Don't think that you're being a pain. You're not. People don't care about you as much as you think they do.
Yeah, they actually hate you.
Me? Or just...
we all hate you at the same time. Sorry to break it to you.
That's fair. That's so fair.
Is this a good time to close off our show?
Yeah, also, climate change is real and doing a strike is good. Making changes in your lifestyle is even better. Thanks for listening, guys, or watching.
I agree with that analysis.
If you have any highlights, be sure to timestamp them in whatever format that you're listening to this below, so we can make some highlights for y'all.
Can you start a coffee fund for me?
We'll start a coffee fund for Seren.
Should source ethically grown coffee from a specialty roaster.
9. Give us enough money.
I wonder how much coffee contributes to climate change.
Probably more than you want to know.
Yeah, probably. There's a lot of beans being moved around the world.
We have so
global
derailed.
trade is so interesting.
We can't get into global trade.
Have you ever thought, why is it cheaper? Like, why is it cheaper for New Zealand to send meat overseas and for Australian meat to be imported here and sold in supermarkets? How do the economics work there? Have you ever thought
because
about that?
We can sell our product for more overseas than what we would within New Zealand.
Yeah, but isn't that so weird? Think about the efficiencies there. We're sending meat away and we're getting more meat in. Why?
Yeah.
It's so fascinating.
I mean, yeah, like, I get your point, but, like, I also get what contributes to it, and I...
Oh, but we have how it works, but think about it, you know? It's cheaper to ship meat 3,000 kilometres than it is to just consume it here.
Do what I do and just don't consume it at all.
Other stuff's imported too. Like this phone. Came on a container from China.
Yeah, no, like, technology also contributes to that kind of stuff as well. Like, use your stuff for as long as possible, because a lot of the things that go into creating a lot of the technology is not
like
reusable.
And stuff.
And you're not able to, like, we don't have an endless supply of it. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the thing.
We're running out of sand.
Yeah, sand's used in, like, to make concrete. So it's like...
And glass.
Kind of important. Yeah, and glass. It's quite important, yeah. Because you can only use river sand. Can't use ocean sand. That's the issue. Because river sand is, ocean sand's like on a microscopic level is real circular in shape. So it doesn't like stick together well.
Yeah.
But river sand is like sharp in shape.
Interesting.
So it like holds together well. So it's good for concrete and stuff. But yeah, we're running out of it. The more you know.
Where's the world, team? Where's the world? We should probably wrap this up.
Yeah, probably.
We mentioned the highlights. If you have any ideas for what we should do in later weeks, so you don't have to listen to us go on weird conversations about river sand.
If you like this, you should tell us.
You actually should.
Because
I do enjoy just sitting down and having a yarn and just seeing where that goes. And I feel like, you know, there are some people out there who don't mind listening to our opinions every now and then when it's not like complete study advice. Like, yeah, I'm always happy to share my opinions on things to absolutely anybody that will listen to me.
I love my life.
Do you
love your life?
I love that you love your life.
But you don't love your life.
We'll see you guys next week. Hey guys. Welcome to the Wholesome Half Hour.
I hate that I'm drinking this out of a can, but that's alright. I actually like.
We're talking about how rats pee on cans and cargo.
Yeah, I don't know if that's an actual thing. I know that's a rumor.
I mean, it's not outside of the things that are possible.
I've consumed a lot of cans in my life.
I mean, I'm not saying that every can has been pissed on by a rat. I'm just saying that, statistically speaking, it's not unreasonable to believe that some
But
have.
like, see, here's the thing. People always say this, but like, cans are inside boxes.
Are they?
Yeah, they don't just transport like raw cans.
They might be in a plastic wrap that they can get into. I think
How would it get into a plastic wrap?
Choose through it. They're fucking rats. They can eat concrete.
No, but it's gonna like, statistically, the odds of your can being on the outside of the pallet are very low.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Statistically speaking, the chances are low.
But like,
But alternatively, statistically speaking, there is still some that are in the firing line of a rat's urethra.
No.
Should I start?
That would be good.